And what is up, everyone? I'm Joe DeHoyos. I am the host of Beyond the Woodline, and tonight I have with me Beth O'Brien and Mike Brown. How you guys doing tonight?
Hi, we're doing good. Thank you for having us.
Doing good.
Yeah,
Doing really
yeah.
good.
Thank you guys for joining, coming on the show, man. I really appreciate it. I know you guys had some technical difficulties there, but we got through them, I guess. And
Yeah.
uh, yeah, Beth, I was reading your bio, man. You got quite a repertoire there going. Man, you Reiki, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
got a
I
lot.
recently got started with that myself. I just started reading up on it and gonna start practicing it myself. So that was something that caught my eye. And uh, if you
Oh,
don't mind, why
good.
don't you tell us real quick about yourself and how you got involved in every little aspect that you've got going on?
Well, there's a lot. Yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. My name is Beth, and I have always seen spirits since I was about 4 years old, and I'm going to be 54, 55, so it's been a long time. But before all this, I was in the medical field for 20 years in OBGYN, and then back then it wasn't as acceptable seeing spirit, because I'm also a psychic medium. So I can communicate with your loved ones who have crossed over to the other side. And that's what I mean when I said I've seen spirit since I was four. And then as a child, you're afraid of it, because it's not as explained and as open as it is nowadays. So, and I didn't understand it. And I guess my parents didn't understand it. So they're just chalked it over as I was too sensitive, or something like that. And then through the years, I would see spirit in and out, and I would always be afraid of the dark. So I would always hide in the dark, and I would hear things and call my dad. He'd come running in. He's like, "There's nobody there," but I could feel something there, but nobody could explain it. And then I guess had children in my 20s, and then in my 30s I found a mentor to help bring my self-esteem and my confidence out. You know, and her name is Marty Haynes, and she said, "No, you have gifts. You could do this. Why aren't you doing this?" And I took classes to help bring that out. And then I did that, and then I became a Reiki master. Because people said, "Oh no," they always said, "Oh, my hands were hot," or you should try this, you should do this. So I became a Reiki master, and I do that for people to help, that to help your own body to help heal itself. It's been around for thousands of years. And then I do that, and then I'm also a paranormal investigator. So Mike is too. We do public places and private homes. Public places to help raise money, historical places, for generations to come, so that they can keep it open and it helps with the upkeep. And private homes, people call and say, they'll tell me, "Oh, I hear this, something moved, I'm getting touched." So we'll go out there and try to ease their mind, and we do house cleansings and house blessings. So, that's another way that we help people. And then I'm also a certified hypnotist, which I do past life regressions, and it's good for all kinds of ailments, and that also helps your own body to heal, because I get to your subconscious, and that's where all your trauma is, and your past pain, and inner child healing, stuff like that. And I've done about 10 weddings and a couple christenings so far, which I really enjoy doing that. I have assisted in an exorcism one time. I just held space for that. And recently I just became an end of life death doula. So to work with hospice and to help people, they call it to help them have a good death. People who want to die at home, help them to cross over by making them comfortable, make them as comfortable as I can. So it is a lot. So that's what
Yeah.
I do.
What made you decide to do that, Death Doula? What made you decide to do that? That's kind of like that's a big deal.
Yeah, you know what? For some reason, I've had a lot of people, friends and family that died, and for some reason, I'm always there when they take their last breath to see them. When they leave this earth. And I think being the psychic medium, I know when sometimes when the spirit's going to leave the body, And a lot of times, if the family is interested in psychic mediums, sometimes the spirit is already crossed over, just waiting for the body to expire. So sometimes they'll say they'll want to know, what they're doing. Are they in heaven or wherever they believe they're going and stuff like that. I think the combination of the two. And there's something, I know it may seem morbid, but it's just something spiritual and beautiful to be there, and help the family when the body crosses over. I think it has a lot to do with being a psychic medium too.
And what about you, Mike? What got you started into all this paranormal, into the paranormal field?
Well, that's actually how Beth and I met. Uh, and just to touch on the death doula thing real quick, I just happened to be there at some times when she's done this, when she was there when my dad passed away, actually. And yeah, she just seemed natural at it, and just it would seem natural progression from like mediumship to that. And like she said, she just kept ending up with people that were crossing over, and she's amazing at it. So I'm glad she took that step. But it's honestly the paranormal is how we met, and we both joined South Jersey Ghost Research, which is a local team. Didn't know each other prior to that. Met each other on the team, and I moved into a haunted house with my ex and my kids, and lived there for a year. And there was constant activity, continuous activity. Almost every single night, something would happen. A door would slam. Objects would move. You put something down. 2 minutes later, it's disappeared. It's like on another floor in the attic. Lights turn on and off. We saw the spirit of a girl run through the living room. We thought actually it was one of our kids, and we got like mad, getting ready to yell at them and chase them up into their bedroom, and like they were both sound asleep. So all kinds of stuff like that was happening, and that's what sort of pushed me towards joining the group. And because I just needed to figure it out. I needed to, like, I saw some of the shows on TV, and I was like, wow, this is cool. Because at that point, I didn't realize so many people like really took it seriously and took it, approached it professionally with the equipment and techniques and interviews and all that kind of stuff. And so I became fascinated with that. I'm like, I need to get trained. I need to figure out how to investigate this formally, because stuff was happening all the time. And, friends were like running out of the house afraid and stuff. So I joined South Jersey Ghost Research. I meet Beth. And honestly, I tell this part of the story all the time, but I had second thoughts about joining the group, because when I started researching them, they seemed super legit, really into the procedures and investigation and interviews and everything. But I'm like, oh, they use psychics. I'm like, oh. Because at that point, I did not believe at all, not at all. And I was like, I never really met a legitimate medium. I never met a legitimate psychic ever. I always met, I guess I was unlucky. I just met hacks. It just seemed like they were, just making stuff up or just trying to do cold reading or whatever. So I had a bad taste in my mouth about that. I almost didn't join the group because of the fact that they use psychics and mediums and the equipment. They use it all. But I'm glad I did, because once I started investigating and hanging out with this one and, even other psychics and mediums and stuff, I started realizing that I was feeling stuff and I was sensing stuff. And it was cool to have Beth there, because then she was there to validate, well, well, just a woman just walked through the room and, walked right in between us. And so that's probably what you felt. And I'm like, what? And then over time, we were investigating and collecting evidence. And I'm hearing, Beth in the middle of a location talk about, this woman walked in, this is her name, this is what she looks like. It's, given all these details. And I'm just sitting back like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, because I really liked her. So I thought, I'll give her a chance. And lo and behold, I'll go back and look at the evidence, and like, here I have EVPs from a woman in the room that none of us heard, that was answering us directly. Immediately after Beth said, hey, this woman just walked in the room. And so stuff like that started happening. And that's when I started to really look at myself. And as I was getting more into meditation and stuff like that as well, and I started sensing more and started feeling things in the environment. And then I would, have that validated by equipment activating, that other people in the room validating, like Beth saying, oh yeah, this is, and so over time, I just realized that, like, oh yeah, there are legitimate mediums. There are legitimate psychics. There's a lot of illegitimate ones too, but there are legit ones, and man, the stuff they come out with is like it's amazing.
So let me get you guys' opinion. Is everyone psychic? And I'm asking you too, Mike. Are you psychic?
I call myself sensitive. I call
Okay.
myself sensitive. That's how I like to put it. I definitely sense things, and I see things a lot now too. And it seems like the longer we do this, like the
You're
more
intuitive.
intuitive. You can call
Okay.
it intuitive, but it
Right.
seems like the longer you investigate, the more things you begin to notice, and the more things you'll see and hear
Yeah,
that is backed up by equipment. I think it's pretty cool.
that's good. And what do you think, Beth? You think everyone has this ability, even if it's on a smaller level or as opposed to a higher level?
Um, I think everybody has, you always say, trust your intuition. I think
Right.
people have intuition, whether they follow or not, or whether they look into it. That's a different story. Is everybody? I don't think everybody is a medium. I don't think everybody um, can, communicate with the dead. I do think that is a gift. And right, like Mike said, there are frauds that are out there that you just know, who is good, who is real, and who isn't. And in the UK, you have to actually go to college, Arthur Findlay College, to be like a psychic and a medium. They don't take it as lightly over there. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I think psychic, I think everybody can be psychic, because psychic, when you do a psychic reading, you're just reading that person's energy and see what's going on in their life. And by sometimes you can look at somebody and their body language, or how you look at somebody and they just don't feel well.
Right.
You could call that psychic just by looking at them. So yeah, I don't think everybody can, but and then people say, "Oh, I'm a born psychic. I'm a born medium," and I think it comes out. They may be, but I know it comes out in your lifetime when it's supposed to come out for you to tap into it or for you to use it.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. So here lately, within the last couple of years, I've been trying to tap into whatever I can tap into, and trying to see if I can develop something. And it's taken a long time, but I think I finally just started making some headway with that. Uh, I've been doing a lot of meditation and
Yeah, that's good. Meditation is a big part of connecting to your higher self,
yeah,
and then
and
tapping into the other side. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't even want to call it, I guess, lucky enough to see certain things, visions or what have you, and it's pretty freaky sometimes because it's like right in my face, and uh, it's even if it's for like a brief second, just like a quick nanosecond,
Yeah.
But yeah, does
Yeah.
I was gonna ask Mike, does Mike do any kind of meditations, or Mike, do you do any kind of anything to help develop that?
Yeah, I've always meditated and practiced yoga for a long time. Just a few years ago, I took another step and became certified to teach
Oh, okay.
yoga and meditation. And it's like Beth said. I mean, I think it's, if you're a sensitive person, if you're feeling things and seeing things, if you're affected by being in public, affected by others' energy, stuff like that. I mean, you really have to meditate in some way, shape, or form. And I think that, a lot of people have too narrow a definition of meditation. And I think that a lot of people meditate sort of unconscious about thinking about it. You kind of just slip into it, like if you're driving home, for example, and, that's your time to zone out, after work, and you just kind of just drive your car and listen to music and you just zone out and allow yourself to relax. That's meditation. If you take a walk in the woods and just really take in the scene, and like you really pay attention to like how many birds you can hear, or how many insects you see, or, how many smells that you can detect, like really, like Beth calls it walking awake. And I think it's forest bathing. It's also referred to. It's a great form of meditation. There's a lot of different kinds of meditation that people, I think, a lot of times do without realizing it. But it's essential if you're sensitive and you're feeling or sensing things. I think that you need something to kind of center yourself and reground yourself and have like a reset for the day, because you come in contact with people all the time, and you come into contact with people, you come into contact with their energy field, and if they're having a bad day, you can rub off on you. Now you're having a bad day,
Right.
so you need that. You need some kind of reset somewhere in your day to sort of reground and find your center again.
Right. On a paranormal side, where have you guys investigated as far as public places go?
Where do we start? Rolling Hills. You mean public, like private homes, or
No,
historical
no,
places?
no. Public places like whether they be, I guess we have privately owned public places. I don't know.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
mean like historical places, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. White Hill Mansion, which is New Jersey. Rolling Hills, New York. Wildwood. That's
Wildwood Asylum.
Wildwood Asylum.
Penhurst.
I was telling them where Wildwood is in New York, right? Or Ohio.
Wildwood. No, Wildwood's New York.
What's the other with Dan's other ones?
The Hinsdale House.
Hinsdale House.
Upstate New York.
The Hoover House, the Hoover Mansion.
Hoover House. Yeah, a bunch of places
West
in
Hill Mansion.
Gettysburg.
There's
Bel Air House in Ohio.
I said, Bel Air House. Rolling Hills, we said that.
Rolling Hills.
West Hill Mansion, which is recent, that's New Jersey.
We just took our second trip to Greystone Manor in upstate New York. It's up by Niagara Falls.
Okay.
We did the Lighthouse Resource and Education Center. That was down the shore.
There's been.
There's so many. We're drawing a blank.
Trying to think
There's probably been at least I want to say 20 or more. 20. But we're free agents. We were with two other groups, like Mike said, and there's a lot of paranormal. There's a lot of like paranormal drama. So we are free agents. So we just go where we want to go, and there are teams that we trust that we will help, and go and help,
Right.
Which is
Yeah,
good.
that's one of the unfortunate things in the paranormal. Everyone wants to wear their tiara, But, so
that's true.
do you guys have like a favorite place or a place that has left maybe the biggest impression on you guys?
The lighthouse was pretty cool. Greystone Manor.
Oh, what was really amazing? I think we might be going back out for a second trip. It's out in western Pennsylvania towards Ohio. Is the Hillview.
Okay.
Oh, that was amazing.
Hillview Manor, it's called, or Hillview
Sanitarium. Well,
it was a hospital.
Hospital. Right? Yeah.
Man, the activity there was like right up close and personal.
Yeah, there's places that people that you hear they go to, and they'll be like, "Oh, this was like the scariest place we've ever been to," and we'll go there, and they'll be like, "Not sure what they're talking about," and vice versa. And I think spirit will, that if they want to communicate, they'll want to, and if not, they'll not. They have free will. You can't make them. Human spirits have free will. They come and go as they choose. You can't, make them come, or you can't make them leave. So I think it depends on a lot has to do with the weather, the people that are there. If there's a skeptic in a group, there's most likely not going to be activity. So we won't say their names.
Yeah, that's interesting how it happens. We find that like it seems like whatever sort of mood or energy the investigators have with them before they show up is kind of dictates most of the time how things are going to happen at the case. It seems like, because we've investigated with people that were sort of had like preconceived notions of the site, and we're having anxiety about it, we're nervous about it, and lo and behold, they had a negative experience. Whereas we were right in the room with these people, and we just kind of we're pretty good about keeping just a blank slate. And whatever stories we hear about a place, we just kind of like, okay, well, just write it off, because we know that each place and each time you go to a place, it's going to be a totally unique experience. And like the first time we went to Bel Air House was super intense. I mean, I had a headache for 2 weeks after that. I mean, we were
nauseated.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it was really intense. But then we went back, maybe 6 months, 8 months later, and it was dead. No, it was boring as hell. Nothing happened. And, no one was affected. And same location. And so, yeah.
So yeah, they're like different every time.
Have you guys ever been like legit scared on an investigation?
I well. Do we get scared? See
Because you
what happened?
said human spirits at one time, so I'm just wondering, you run into anything that's not a human spirit?
Well, that's the thing. When we do private homes, there's they'll call and they'll say, "Oh, I hear this, I sense this, something's going on," and there's like all these questions that we have to ask because we need to know if they're on medications, they drink, whatever they're doing, and 99.9% of the times you create your own negative energy and your own negative entity by the life you're living.
Right.
And the negative spirits have to abide by rules, but you have to want them gone. So a lot of times we know how to put our protection up. I ask Archangel Michael to step in, and he's got a sword, and I put your protection up, and you got to believe in it, and I only work with the love and light. So I believe in that, and I do my best not to let any negative stuff in. Are there times when, I thought I would have to step out a couple times, but then I just have to let myself know, being an empath, that is not my energy. That is whatever's in this building's energy. And I have to I really have to talk myself out of it and breathe and just let that go and cut the cord. And a lot of times, if it's really bad, even if it's say it's a private home, on the drive in the car to that location, if I feel it's that negative, that bad, I won't be able to go to the door. I'll turn around and leave because I'm not going to get subject myself to that, unless I know, a couple people that work with negative energy and negative entities and stuff like that. And we have a group of friends that I trust that if they ask for assistance, Mike and I will go and we will help them.
What about you, Mike? Have you ever been like legit scared?
Oh yeah, Clementon's house.
Oh.
You had to get us all.
Oh wow.
Go ahead. Now you got to tell them. Now you got to
Well,
tell
I wasn't.
You were affected.
I was getting to the point where I was getting worried. This was a private case here in Jersey, and it was really dark. And I mean, one of the darkest things that I've ever experienced. The kind of thing where we pull in the yard and just that the yard, this in particular home, was even with streetlights on and everything around, the yard was darker. Everything just looked darker. And we pulled in and we went in there, and we were showing up to investigate. We had already sent a team out that interviewed them, and the people that I think were you in the interview team? Yeah. And everybody was like, my God, these people are seriously affected. This could be, this might be the D word. So they sent a bunch of us back to actually investigate to try and prove or disprove what's going on there. And like I said, the yard was dark. We walked in, and there was animal feces and urine everywhere.
And they were it was normal
everywhere, and they were
not on the furniture, and they were
yeah, and they were not even, they were acting as if they didn't even notice. And we were all having trouble breathing, and that's when I started hearing what sounded like a wrestling match upstairs in the bedroom. And I didn't want to let on to the client that I was hearing anything right away, but I just kind of slipped a comment in, and I just asked, is everyone home, or is anyone upstairs? I was vague about it, but I was trying to get him to tell me if there's just kids upstairs playing. That's what I wanted to hear. And they said, oh, no, it's just us. And so I just made note of it. I started seeing small shadows. I would say maybe 6 to 8 inches tall, and they were just darting around. In the corner of the eye, you would see it go from behind a piece of furniture, and it would and it would dart behind another piece of furniture. And I was for several minutes I was seeing this, and I walked over to one of the other investigators, and I'm I said, are you seeing this? And she said, yeah, I've been seeing it for a couple of minutes. And and it's just the odor and the activity was really dark. I mean, it was supposedly like real intense activity, but then there's some kind of black magic was performed there and rituals and stuff where we're not really sure exactly
in that room, right?
In that room where I heard all the stuff happening. And so we ended up not investigating. We gave them like a long counseling session, let them know that, we'll come back and investigate, but like they really have to kind of clean up and and help to clear out the energy. Like we put it very, very nicely. And but after that, I mean, I was like ill for weeks. I didn't feel right. I just couldn't feel, like nothing I did worked. I couldn't feel better. And I ended up having to see one of the other members of the group, and they mixed up some kind of crazy herb bath and like Epsom salts and all kinds of crazy stuff to put in the tub and just soak into it. And what's funny is after I took that bath and rinsed off in the shower afterwards, like I immediately felt better. But I was like sick for weeks. Like and I couldn't really put my finger on why or what it was, but it was, I mean, and it was like nightmares and like all kinds of crazy stuff. Yeah. So I wasn't afraid, but like I've been in a couple places, like in the basement at Hillview. We were walking around investigating. It was just Beth and I, and we just got to a certain point in this basement. I believe it was the boiler room, right? And we both kind of walked up to the door.
Oh, yeah.
And we were just like, no, we're not going in here.
It was down in the morgue.
That was in the
morgue. Remember, it's the morgue.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But you want to go down to that spirit room that they claim was in that. That was. Yeah,
there's been areas of investigations where we just said, okay, no, we're not touching that right now. We're not going there. Maybe we'll come back later, but yeah.
Yeah, I lived in a house for about 5 years, and I mean, from day one when we moved into this house, we had activity. I wasn't even there a week, and I was laying in bed, and I felt somebody sit on the bed. Uh, that happened twice, and both times I thought it was my dog. I had a boxer at the time, and I thought it was him trying to get on the bed, which he knew he wasn't allowed on the bed. So I sat up real fast, and I was like, "Get your ass off the bed!" And there was nobody there. That was actually like my first real experience with the paranormal, even though I had believed in it the whole time. And that was like
wow.
my first experience. I said 5 years, man. That was probably closer to 10 years, I bet. Um, yeah, it was about 10 years ago, and we saw shadows and figures moving across the house. We were all touched and poked, and uh, yeah, that was. I think it was the original owners of that house who I don't want to say they were unhappy with us being there, but I think they were just wanting some attention because even though we got scared, I don't think they were trying to scare us. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. People, they just try to. Sometimes spirits just try to want to get your attention, and the clowns say, "Oh, but I was poked," and like spirits don't know their own strength. So a lot of times it's just they think they're getting pushed or poked, but it was just like hey, like a like right. A little tap.
I tell a story. Well, I don't say I tell it a lot because it just happened in April. So I've told it a few times, but I'd like to get your take on this story. So in April, my mother turned 72. We had a party for her, and there was maybe, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 people there at her house. It was just like an immediate family. Um, my dad passed away 10 years ago, and of course my uncle, which is his twin brother, he was there. Um, this was on a Sunday, so that Monday, my brother called me and told me, "Hey, Maddie, which is my niece, she's just turned 15." He said, "Maddie told me Sunday that at the party she heard my dad's voice, and that my dad told her that he was happy that Grandma was having a party, and that he was happy for her, and that she deserved it, right?" Um, and then on that Tuesday, they were going to go to my dad's gravesite. But they wind up canceling because it was raining that day. Well, my uncle called my brother and told my brother, "Hey, it's raining too bad. We can't go. Let's just reschedule for another day." My brother said, "Okay." He says, "Well, I got you on the phone. I want to tell you about the party on Sunday. Your aunt heard your dad's voice, and he told your aunt that he was proud that we gave my mom a party. He was happy for her; she deserved it, and that he would be there waiting for her when her time comes." And he was neither one of them, my aunt or my niece, knew that the other one had heard my dad's voice, uh, and it was basically the same message to both.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts
interesting.
on that?
No,
Yeah,
I totally believe that.
yeah,
Yeah, I believe it, and they will come to us when it's somebody's birthday, an anniversary, a death of something. They'll That's when you feel them the most, or they'll try to communicate with you,
right,
or just to let you know that they're still seeing what's going on and they care about them, and that their spirit is always around them. And yeah, the spirit will do that. They'll say, yeah, I'll be there, when that person crosses over,
right,
just to comfort the family.
right. Yeah,
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 I believe that.
yeah, and yeah, I like that he
Yeah,
said that, and I totally believe that he would do
yeah,
that.
absolutely. Yeah, and if you know your dad and his personality, then you know that he would do that. He seems like a very caring man.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Kind of a side note, him and my mom, they were divorced,
Hmm.
but they both loved each other a lot.
Oh,
If that
sure.
makes if that makes
Absolutely.
sense. And my mom, she
Absolutely.
still loves my
Yeah.
dad to death, and
Uh,
and I know my dad still loves my mom, but
yeah.
they just
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe it. Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah. Um, let's talk a little bit about the hypnosis. When did you get involved in that, and what got you drawn to that?
Right before I got involved with that, I got certified right when COVID happened, or right before COVID.
Okay,
And again, it's just part of because I wanted to do past life regressions, because people, they say, if you believe in past lives, that the reason that what's going on in their life now is because you carried karma over from past lives. So they want to know what happened. So then when you do a past life regression and you get back to that previous life, you heal that life, and then you can heal this life. But I found out, and that again, the psychic mediumship plays a part in that, because I do, being the hypnosis, I take you under, it's just a guided meditation, and I get to your subconscious mind instead of your conscious mind, which is the monkey mind, blah, blah,
hmm,
so so then when I do that, it helps you to remember stuff. But when I do past life regression, I ask questions and you answer me. So you tell me your past life, and then whatever I get through psychically or mediumship wise, I can add to that.
okay,
So it kind of helps. Not every past life is bad or traumatic, or people think that all your past lives are bad, but that's not true.
right,
And so usually when I find out during hypnosis, someone wants to do a past life regression, and when I ask them questions, they can't answer me because there really isn't one. Then I find out actually turns into an inner child healing, and it's this life that needs a healing, not your past life.
okay.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
yeah. So again, just to be able to do past lives, and then to help people to heal in whatever way they need healing.
Right. Can you
Yeah.
talk about anything that really stood out to you as far as anyone's past life? You don't have to give any details. I understand if you got to keep the privacy.
Well, no, yeah. I've been doing it, I guess maybe, like I said, a year, because of during COVID I couldn't really do it because of everything was going on.
Right.
There was people weren't going out. Um, I haven't actually had one that was traumatic yet,
Okay.
to where they were abused. A lot of people died young in a fire because their houses were made of wood.
Right.
Back then, but nothing that really, as I'm thinking about, nothing that really stuck out. Um, not yet. So maybe I'll come across one. And
Right.
also, it's good for, like, Mike saw a UFO. So a
Hmm.
lot of times when that happens, they kind of like erase your mind sometime,
Right.
because they don't want you to, I guess, let them
Remember.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's good for that too, to see if you can remember more, because people usually lose time
Right.
a lot of time when they go with the UFOs and the gray people. What do you call them?
You like Grays?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they lose that, one of the symptoms or one of the signs or experiences, should I say, they lose track of time.
Right.
So getting a hypnosis done, I can see if we can go back to that date and help them try to remember something else.
Yeah, I've been interested in doing that myself. I've had some experiences with that kind of stuff, so I've
Oh,
just
okay.
been, yeah, yeah. I won't go too much detail with, because I'm still trying to process a lot of what's happened over the
Yeah.
last several months. It started like back in last August, September. So it was through someone that I had met, and yeah, that's all I'll say.
Okay.
It's been.
Okay.
I will
Yeah.
say this: I've seen these little figures in my room, and they didn't
Oh,
look.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. And
You
I've
mean
had some.
aliens or the
Yeah,
grays in your room?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I've had some crazy dreams, I guess you can call them, and yeah, they've been kind of crazy, but yeah,
Yeah, so you should go in your area to
yeah,
past someone that does hypnosis for past life regression.
yeah, yeah. I've actually looked into that, so I think
Oh, good.
yeah, I'll pull the trigger on that one day for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
yeah, you should. Yeah, it's very relaxing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have Have you done or ever tried remote viewing?
I will do. I also I teach psychic development classes also, and I'll teach every kind of divination. I when I use remote viewing if I'm going on an investigation to a historical place or a private home, just so that I know what I'm walking into.
Hmm. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then I usually, like Mike always has pad and paper, because I'll say oh, and then I'll start getting stuff in, psychic mediumship wise,
yeah.
to what's in the house where we're going before we even get there or know anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that something that that you can turn on and turn off at will, or does it just come to you? Or
You mean just being a psychic medium or talking to
right,
spirits and
right,
stuff?
yeah, yeah, being well, both
Yeah, I
really.
can. Well, I don't actually technically turn it off, because I don't think you can turn it off. I just try to occupy my mind with something else, because it's like
Okay,
always there. It's always I'm always in that heightened empath, that vibration. Being an empath, so I try to do something else to take my mind off it.
okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah. And Mr. Mike, I know you're an author. What are you an author of?
So I wrote a work of fiction a
Okay,
few years back. It was basically like a sort of modern take on a fairy tale. I've always been fascinated with fairies and nature spirits and that kind of thing.
okay,
And so yeah, so that was kind of the focus of that. I'm currently keeping a field journal and taking notes at all our investigations and stuff like that. And for the the hope is that down the road at some point, um, writing a little something more paranormal, just a nonfiction,
right.
just about us and our crazy adventures and all kinds of stuff that's happened. I mean, it's some of the stuff. If I wasn't there, I wouldn't believe it. So I thought it would be a fun challenge at some point uh, to put it all down into a book.
Okay. It'd be
Uh,
more like a documentary, or
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it would just be
okay.
documenting the different places that we investigated and the different crazy things that we've experienced.
Yeah. Do you have a bucket place or places that you want to go to?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we are really looking forward to getting back to Hillview out in Pennsylvania. That that was just I still can't put my finger on it how different it was or how intense that it was, but it I'm trying to think how to put it. Like we were just we would be in a room in the hospital, just the two of us, asking questions and stuff, and we'd be getting voices and sensations, something that's like right there, it's right on top of us, talking right to us, um, and it was just, I don't know, it really, some parts of that place are very uncomfortable. Some parts are fascinating. It's really a beautiful place. Interesting history. It hasn't honestly been closed for that long. I mean, it closed fairly recently, right? I mean, it was like
1900.
like 99, 98, 2000, some.
I forget. Yeah.
It closed fairly recently. But that was just an overall, just an amazing place. But
what about a place that you haven't? What a place that you haven't been to?
I think bucket list is definitely, if we ever get over to Ireland, Leap Castle is on the list. I think the Stanley Hotel is probably on everyone's list. A lot of places in Europe, it'll be really cool. It's just because Europe is so much older than our country. There's so much more history. But yeah, definitely Leap Castle and
yeah. So are the cemeteries, which that's where we spend our Saturdays, are at cemeteries.
Yeah, pretty much.
What about you, Beth? What does your bucket list consist of? If you can narrow it down to a few.
Probably. Well, I mean, I like to investigate anywhere, and especially any place that's historical. But probably the same places that you said. I would like to go to what's the in Gettysburg, where you just recently took the picture on you laying on the floor. The Wade House.
Jenny Wade House?
I would like to go to the Jenny Wade House. And that's in Gettysburg. What's out there in Texas that we could come to?
You got the Haunted Hill House out here. In Mineral Wells, which I've been to.
Okay.
And then there's I think Lavaca County Jail, which is outside of Houston. Of course, there's like out in the San Jacinto area where like the San Jacinto battle took place. San Antonio's got a lot of spots too, because that was a heavily area that was heavily fought for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Texas has a lot of history with a lot of stuff, everything from slavery to wars. I mean, the French were here, the Spanish were here, Germans were here. Mexico, of course, and of course, Texas, United States. There's a lot of traumatic events that really took place here.
Yeah. And out here in New Jersey, of course, you heard of the Jersey Devil, right?
Right. Yeah. Yes, of course. That's right up my alley.
Yeah, I from the Pine Barrens, so I'm from where the Jersey Devil was born, supposedly. Yes, and the Pine Barrens are creepy as hell, even during the day. Yeah. The Pine Barrens, the woods, the forest out there. So, and just having the Jersey Devil, actually, my backyard was a little scary growing up.
So, what are your thoughts like on cryptids, whether it be Jersey Devil or Bigfoot or Dogman or anything else that may be?
Well, it's not that when it comes to Bigfoot and Jersey Devil, it's not that I don't believe it, but I haven't seen it, so I don't know if that's real. But why not being real? I think that Bigfoot can be more like a mythical, is that the right word? Creature or elemental or something that's
some spiritual.
Because they know, or something spiritual, because they never find bones. And it's always one, like, you know what I'm saying? I just think maybe he's on another realm and can come and go, Bigfoot.
Right. Well, being in the Bigfoot world, there are plenty of sightings of multiples, even babies, and
wow.
Yeah, I've actually found 3-inch tracks and 8-inch tracks.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I do. I just haven't ran into one.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I believe in doing the work I do. I believe in like everything and everybody, because I have to.
Yeah. Up until a couple of years ago, when I actually started doing this show, I wasn't necessarily closed-minded, but I really didn't pay attention to elementals or anything supernatural. That just wasn't in my view. And now I follow all the stories real close, and I do all my own research now, and um, and even in the world of the paranormal, I really didn't follow it as closely as I do now. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
I think this show has really helped me
Good.
just
Yeah.
develop my mind, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And that's one thing I tell people. They'll ask me during my psychic development classes, how do I open my third eye? And I say, well, being a paranormal investigator will help you because you use your sixth sense, because a lot of times you're sitting in the dark for hours. I
Right.
know it's helped open mine, and I think yours,
Yeah,
right, Mike?
100%.
Yeah. So um, I think I'll always be a paranormal investigator because you're always learning and growing. You never master this. The universe is so big
Right.
that you just continue to. It can get overwhelming, but
Oh yeah.
that's when you say, okay, I'm going to go out and dancing or something. Just something else to get your
Right.
mind off of that, because you can. I mean, doing this work is a way of life for me. The spiritual work. It's just a way of life. So a lot of times, yeah, there's times when I need to take a vacation, and just quiet my mind,
Right.
because right now I'm available like 7 days a week.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
And
a
you know
lot.
what? You know what's funny? You talk about I guess kind of taking a vacation from this stuff. Even though I look for Bigfoot, my vacation is still in the woods where I can go
Yes,
concentrate and meditate. And
that's
you know,
that's what we do. We go
yeah.
to historical places and do investigations. That's our vacation.
Yeah, that's your vacation, right?
Or
That's
we
a
go.
good way.
I love cemeteries. The older, the better. Just you know, I like to read about them, and then you wonder, wow, how do they live their life?
Right. Yeah.
So we love old cemeteries.
Yeah, totally.
And do you have a goal that you're trying to reach in the paranormal field,
Gold.
Hmm.
or something you're trying to accomplish?
Well, I think because you're always growing. The universe is so big. I do feel like the veil is getting smaller, is getting thinner between the universe and Earth. I just think I'm doing. This is my journey, and this is my path, and I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I would eventually, like personally, I would like to have like a store to a paranormal store to do these things and stuff. That's probably my ultimate goal. And then that way you can just do your own thing.
Right. Right. What about you, Mike? Do you have an end game?
Hmm. That's a good question. I think we're just gonna continue to do our thing and just branch out with different investigation techniques, different pieces of equipment. Always like to try new things, and we're just looking for that connection between what is sensed and what is felt, and what is that subjective experience versus what is something I can prove, like
Right.
what can be validated by a REM pod, for example, or an EMF meter, um, and and sort of drawing the connecting the two threads of like experience and total subjective feelings and sensations and experiences, but also documenting it at the same time so that we have something to show someone else and say like, look, this is what I was experiencing. And, oh, really? Well, actually, we have a little bit of proof. Here is this piece of equipment went off when I sensed something walked in. Here's an EVP we caught. I mean, it's been pretty fantastic. And I mean, there's one case in particular. It was one of our last cases in training, I believe, when we went to the Hoskins house in Burlington, and it was it's really, really old building. It was originally built, I think it was a brewery originally back in the late 1600s, and it has had different manifestations over the years. I think Ben Franklin was like frequented this place. It was like a newspaper place at one point. We investigated there, and that was like the ultimate. That's kind of like the dragon I'm chasing, I think, at this point, because that's one of the last places that we sort of investigated during our training before we became full investigators. And that was, as far as the evidence that we caught, is just phenomenal. I mean, that's one of the cases where Beth is describing this woman that walks in, describes her dress, what she looks like, the approximate period she lived in, her mannerisms, her, like personality, went into all this detail, even came up with her name. Her name was Charlotte. And I was recording the whole time, and we had lots of equipment activations and stuff. But loads of EVPs of this woman who apparently had been following us around the whole night was talking to us, and we weren't, we couldn't hear it at the time. We were just kind of talking to each other. But lo and behold, there's this person answering us like in real time, intelligent answers. I mean, even like at one point we're to put a piece of equipment, and she's just like, oh, like put it over there by the flowers, and so it was just blew me away, all these EVPs I caught. And so then later on, it was just, I kept thinking about it. And this is really when the mediumship thing was like really starting to sink in for me. And so I went back into the history of the building and just dove deep into research for weeks. I was researching everything I could find on this house and what it had been and who had lived there. And then lo and behold, I found the woman's name, Charlotte, set in French, who was the owner of the building. She was the landlord for like 40 years, and she was like, in charge, which matched everything Beth was saying. The dress she was describing and the approximate time period fit like the other evidence that we caught and stuff. So that was like the ultimate for me, connecting like what a medium was saying in the room, and at the same time what I was feeling in the room, and then what evidence we caught. It was just connected all the dots like so well. And I think that's really I'm just chasing that dragon, and I'm looking for another place and another piece of evidence that is going to make that connection again. I think that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's a good answer, man. So in your particular journey, what advice would you give to someone who's trying to start out in this paranormal field?
Good question. I would say, do some research and find a group in your area, if possible, that is doing this on a regular basis, and that can train you, bring you up to speed on their techniques, how they use their equipment, different techniques, and also, but at the same time, just continue to do research and find your own sort of technique, and find your own not so much pieces of equipment. You can find pieces of equipment almost anywhere now at this point, but ways of using it, and really just always think outside the box. Think of ways everyday items can be used for investigating. For example, like a compass is a good one. But yeah, I think you find some people you trust, and just follow along with them and just see what they do, and learn what they have to teach. And if you feel like you've sort of hit the ceiling and you're not learning anything else, branch out, go somewhere else, and just keep studying, keep reading. Lots of great books out there, and yeah, just find your own path and find your voice in it. There's so many cool things to try, and so many cool experiments.
What about you, Beth? What advice would you have for someone, whether it be starting out in the paranormal, or maybe people who have gifts and they're trying to develop them and learn as they go?
It's good to have community, people that support you. Find a community that that'll help and support you. Where my office is in Medford, it's 3 floors of holistic practitioners, and we all do different stuff. And it's just good to have community and people that believe in you. And I would say, if you're searching, especially if you're not, you're different, you sense things, or you feel or spirit or whatever, then find a mentor and learn from as many people as you can, and take classes, and find that community and that support that you need, and just do it, and don't listen to people tell you that you can't,
right.
Because you are going to have the skeptics. You will lose friends, you gain friends. The non-believers, people told me I do the devil's work. I'm like, whatever. So yeah, stuff like that. So it's important to just have community and find, a metaphysical store. A lot of those places, they have people there that you can start taking classes and find that person that generally cares and is concerned about you beginning and starting into the paranormal. And you can also, there's so many paranormal teams out there now. Just find one that you trust if you want, or get the equipment, read about it, try it out, and start your own group. You don't have to be on another group. I will never do that again.
Right.
So and then that way you can do and go where you want to go. All you need to start out with is a recorder. You yourself is your biggest instrument anyway. What you sense, feel, and see or hear, and then bring a recorder, and then go, look up and places to do investigations, events, and then
Yeah.
But it's good to go, like, rule of thumb, you never investigate your own house, you never go investigating alone. Make sure that you have somebody, more than one person, or if you can, to go with on investigations.
Good point.
Yeah. And I would just say, have fun. If you're not having
Have
fun with what
fun.
you're doing, yeah, if you're not
Yeah,
having fun with what you're doing, then it's not gonna, probably not gonna enjoy it too much.
exactly. You have to
Yeah.
have fun. That's why you need to find the right group of people,
Yeah.
that like to have fun and is supportive, and and then have fun.
100%.
I don't think we're ever supposed to master this. I think there are still things that we're never supposed to have answers to.
Right. Right. I agree with you on that.
Yep.
And I think chasing the answers is fun in itself. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Totally
Well,
agree.
guys, we're coming up on the hour. I just want to know if you guys
Okay.
have anything you want to say or add, and maybe tell people how to get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you, or tell people where they can get your book, Mike.
Huh. I don't think my book's available anymore, actually. Yeah, I got to wait for the new one,
Okay.
actually.
Do you have anything you want to say to the people?
I mean, I'm on Facebook as Beth Harper O'Brien, and also as Intuitive Guidance by Beth O'Brien. You can reach me on Facebook.
Well, cool beans, man. I appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you for having us. It was great to meet you, Joe.
I appreciate it. I have to have you guys on again. There's a lot more I wanted to talk to you about.
Yes,
Yeah,
we would love to come back. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
yeah.
Anytime, man.
So yeah, thanks to the guys in the chat room for participating. I really appreciate that too, guys. You guys always do a great job. So thank you for that. And with that, I will see you guys, I believe, next Wednesday. And you guys have a great night. And you two guys, hold on real quick if you don't mind.
Okay.
Sure.